Israel continues to face massive outrage in Saudi Arabia, days after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu joked about creating a Palestinian state in the Saudi territory. Now, in the latest, the Saudi state media has launched a scathing attack on the Israeli Prime Minister for denying Palestine its internationally recognized right to exist. A report on a Saudi state news channel described Netanyahu as a Zionist who inherited extremism in his genes. It also described the Israeli Prime Minister as the sole face of occupation. A columnist in a state-owned newspaper called Netanyahu's suggestion of establishing Palestine in Saudi Arabia as silly and ridiculous. Reports say that the unusually hostile barrage against Israeli Prime Minister is being published with the approval of top Saudi authorities. The criticism is also seen as a reflection of the public anger that simmered for months in Saudi Arabia during the now paused war in Gaza. In recent weeks, Riyadh, under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, has hardened its position on Israel-Palestine conflict. Saudi Arabia has underlined the creation of a Palestinian state as a non-negotiable condition for any potential normalisation with Israel. The Saudi statements of support for Palestine come as Israel and Donald Trump-led America calls for displacing Palestinians to a third country. In response, Saudi Arabia has asserted that Palestinian people have a right to their land and that they are not intruders who could be expelled, according to the wishes of Israeli leadership. Riyadh added that Palestinians have an emotional, historical, and legal connection to their land that cannot be written off, and that no one can take away the right of Palestinians to exist on their lands. Saudi Arabia also warned that lasting peace cannot be achieved without a two-state solution. The United States has long attempted to normalize diplomatic ties between Israel and Saudi Arabia, the two of its closest allies in West Asia. Now, reports say that Saudi Arabia was close in on a deal to normalize ties with Israel until the war erupted in Gaza in October of 2023. Now, according to reports, Riyadh was considering formal ties with Israel in return for a U.S. defense pact and a nuclear program. Even as Saudi Arabia escalated its condemnation of Israel's conduct of war in Gaza, it never took normalization off the table. But at present, the threat to displace Palestinians from their lands is being seen as a thick geopolitical red line. The Palestine fault line between Israel and Arab countries has sharpened its edges in Saudi Arabia, as both Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and U.S. President Donald Trump insist on displacing Palestinians out of Gaza. Now, the stinging criticism of these plans in Saudi Arabia continues to show that this proposal will continue to face due resistance in the region's most influential capitals.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.
We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we put together for you. Touted as the minimum defense from that video. India's neighbors were the first to send the special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout the city. Yes, Hindu Mandir in we're on our way to Tel Aviv. Measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sherin Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi did the iron.
We were actually.
How are you doing? How do you like? It's been 1 year since that meeting. Iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote efforts. Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion. 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.